All right. Well, welcome back to the boys chat. I don't know what to say, but Colby, you just got married.
Yes, I did.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much, sir.
Hand of a round of applause, not a hand of applause. Just got back from your honeymoon. How was that?
It was very good. Hawaii was mostly nice. I mean, it was a little rainy, a little cloudy, but a little dark, a little gloomy, but
Okay.
full of dead people. But it was a good time. Good kind of reset, kind of jump me and her back into real life now and get back to work and stuff.
Yeah.
But long day getting home. Long day. Getting
Ooh,
home.
yeah. Because
I-
the time, right?
I calculated it. So we got up at 6 a.m. Saturday, which is 10 a.m. Utah time.
right.
And that's kind of what we've been getting up at the whole time, just because we couldn't sleep in any longer. Because it's like, oh, it's 10 o'clock.
Right. It didn't reset quite. The
Quite.
body clock didn't
It
reset.
didn't reset all the way. And like we woke up at 6, had to be out of the hotel at like 11. Our flight wasn't in until like 10 p.m. that night.
Dang.
So like we went on a hike, kind of just hung around and stuff. Go to the airport a little early because we both had some homework we needed to finish up and stuff. Get to the airport. Ticket counter's not open.
Ooh.
They don't open for like another 2 hours. So we sit outside just doing homework, waiting 2 hours for them to open up. They open up. Then we go inside the airport and start doing some more homework and stuff, waiting for the flight to come. We finally get boarding and stuff. It's 9:50 at night. It's a 5-hour flight because we flew from Hawaii to L.A.
Okay.
and it's a 5-hour flight. I'm like, oh, I'm just going to sleep and just get my body reset.
Right.
I'm back on normal time
Right.
for the most part.
Right.
I slept maybe an hour.
Ooh.
And then we landed in L.A., had to switch planes to fly to Vegas, and then we drove home from Vegas and
Right.
stuff. And we were leaving Vegas at 8 a.m. Sunday morning.
That's rough.
And I was driving like, I got to stop. I got to have a Monster. I got to have something.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make it home okay. And then I started thinking about it on the drive home. I'm like, all right, I've been up since, if we kind of do this in Utah time, I've been up since 10 a.m.
The day before.
Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And it is now 9 a.m. Sunday morning.
Almost 24 hours.
I've been up for 24 hours, and I'm still not home.
You ever done that before? Stayed up for that long?
Oh, yeah. I've done it a few times. And
What's your do you know like the longest amount of time you've stayed up without like really sleeping?
like, it's probably been, it's been close to 36 hours before. I've pulled that before, and it's not fun.
Mm-hmm.
You get to that point where you're so exhausted that it's like, all right, I'm not tired anymore. I'm just
You're
here.
just vibing, yeah.
Yeah.
You get so tired where you can't fall asleep because you're too tired to fall asleep, which is redundant. It's redundant, but it's true.
Yeah. I was at school all day, went to practice, and then I was trying to get some finals done. I just really didn't sleep the whole night because I was trying to get projects done and
Right.
stuff. And then next morning, got to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
No, I get that. I work in Graves. Done that before.
I've never worked
I
Graves
think
before.
I think the most was almost 3-4 days, without like having maybe an hour and a half of like a nap after the grave before class and
Right.
work the rest of the day. So.
I mean, you're just a zombie at that point.
Oh
You're-
yeah, you're just like, yeah, I'm just
and people are
hallucinating driving down the road.
yeah, no, and everybody's looking at you like you're fine, and you're like, I'm not fine.
Oh, I was walking in that last grave. It was like my third grave in a row. I'm like walking in, I just looked dead. The managers are serious. Oh, honey, you don't look good. She's like, if you fall asleep, just like make sure the doors are locked. Sleep in like right here so you can watch and all this other stuff. I'm like, oh, okay.
Okay.
I was like, I can't. I got homework.
Yeah, I got stuff I gotta do.
Right. So when you guys in Hawaii, did you guys do Airbnb, hotel, like?
So we stayed at a resort. So
Oh, fancy.
Yeah, it
Oh,
wasn't
wait, yeah, you were telling me that. Right, I remember.
I mean, it was like 10 minutes from the airport. We rented a car so we could kind of drive over the island, do
Right.
what we wanted and stuff. And I mean, it was a really, really nice hotel. I mean, resort. I mean, it wasn't all inclusive, which
I don't think they have those in the United States.
I don't think they really do.
Which I don't understand why not.
Which it makes so much more sense. You just
Yeah.
pay a little bit more extra. I mean, it was. I mean, we were there a whole week. We were there Monday to Saturday. So
Right.
I mean, we hung out by the pool. They had somewhat of a private beach. It was.
Okay.
I mean, it was right there on the beach, and then you had 20 feet of beach, and then it was the ocean, pretty much.
Okay.
I mean, you could walk clear up and down everywhere. It wasn't like it was blocked off or anything. So.
Right, but it was just like access from the hotel.
And we were in Kauai, so Kauai is a little bit different from like Honolulu or like Hawaii or Maui. It's
Right.
very small. There's not a lot of people around. There's very laid back. It's basically the rednecks of Hawaii. Is basically what it's crazy to me. They just have chickens and roosters just wandering.
Yeah.
Everywhere. I knew that going into it, but I got there. I'm like, no, like they're everywhere.
They're
like
everywhere.
no matter where you go, they're there.
Yeah.
And like I was like, okay, so how are like they a native thing here? Like no, they're from like the Polynesian islands. Like like people come over and brought them over, and then they're just everywhere. And it's just crazy to me that they're like, okay, like there's chickens everywhere. Like, oh, they're people's chickens. No, they're just
Wild chickens.
wild
pretty much.
chickens. And it was
No,
just
if you ever want a chicken, you know, just run outside.
you grab it and just
Yep, pretty much.
you're done.
All right, well, glad you had fun. You needed a vacation.
I needed a big
You needed
vacation.
a holiday, as they'd say from our friends across the pond. Speaking of holidays, you like that little transition?
Yeah,
into
that's a good transition there.
Thank you. We're going to be talking about Memorial Day. When this episode goes out, it will be Memorial Day. We're still a few days behind, but it's this like next week. So
we're close enough.
But so I thought it'd be kind of cool to dive into the little bit of a history behind Memorial Day, because I don't know.
I didn't know really about it. Like I knew what the holiday was about and stuff, but I
Right.
didn't know where it come from or like like I knew the significance and stuff about it, but I was like, okay, I don't completely know what's
Right. Yeah, like I
what's
always
what.
knew it was like kind of like
It's a veterans
memorial
holiday.
of like our veterans and war heroes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I didn't know much more than that.
Yeah.
So
Failed Utah school system there on that one.
yeah, yeah, school systems everywhere.
That's fair.
Because I know what the powerhouse of the cell is.
exactly. Exactly.
All right, but so the history and origins, right? It dates back to just after like the Civil War, which was one of the deadliest. No, it was the deadliest
Deadliest
event in American history.
I mean, I think this is 1866. I think is one of the things I saw.
Yeah. So the war was 61 to 65.
Yeah, I think it was the
And
year
it was
after.
right after. Let's see. Yeah. So yeah, the Civil War 61, 65. Deadliest, like Gettysburg was like, I think the single deadliest event that happened in American history.
Yeah, at that time.
Yeah. So when it first actually started, it was by a General John A. Logan, and he brought it up in 1868, designating the 30th of May as Decoration Day. So it wasn't even Memorial Day.
Yeah, it was
right?
completely
It was
different.
Decoration Day. Same idea, but the reason why he called it Decoration Day was because it was to decorate the graves of fallen soldiers with flowers and flags. That was Decoration Day. It was later changed to Memorial Day. I don't know exactly how much later, but
I think
sometime later it was changed to Memorial Day.
Well, and one of the things that I saw too was it was not really like a official holiday until 1960s.
Yeah.
It took that long, and that's I think about when it changed to Memorial Day.
Yeah, when they finally made it official.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, and before that too, one of the other things I saw when I read was since it was around the Civil War, and that was the basis of it was honoring the Civil War heroes and stuff.
Right.
Was in the South they actually had their own Confederate Memorial Day,
Right.
which was I think it was in April. I think is what it was.
Okay.
When they actually celebrated that, but
Right. But,
they lost. So
fun fact about that. The Doritos Taco Bell collaboration, or the Doritos Locos Tacos, has been going on longer than the Confederate States of America existed for. They were only around for 5 years, if that, right before the Civil War, and then they were gone. They were around for 5-6 years. Doritos Locos Tacos have been going on for like twice as long.
well, fun family fact for you. For my family, I had relatives on both sides. Well, I actually had one guy that was on both sides. He was a Confederate soldier, got captured, and then he was given choices of, okay, you can join the army and get sent out to Utah and help settle Pine Valley,
Oh, nice.
or you can go to jail. And he's like, well, I'm going to go to Utah, I guess.
Nice.
Both sides of it, so.
Yeah. But now the holiday is to celebrate all fallen soldiers of military in any way to celebrate what they did for the country
Yeah.
and the freedoms that they gave us.
Yeah.
And with that being said, I would just like to thank all the servicemen and women, past, present.
I don't think we do enough for them, honestly.
Oh, no, we don't.
There's not enough you can do for somebody like that.
Yeah, I mean,
Or the families. I mean, that more so the families than the actual vets. I mean, we don't
Right.
really recognize them as much as we
the
should.
spouses that are left behind and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I mean, I got all the respect for the people that do that. I hate it when I see like videos of people bagging on them and disrespecting the flag too. I saw this one video. I can't remember who the guy was, but he was a vet. And he was saying like he is proud of the people that are standing up for what they believe in. Right? Like if you want to state however you feel about the flag, good for you for like doing what you believe in, right? Like that's what you want to do, good for you. Right? But he says as soon as they disrespect the flag, don't disrespect the flag.
Right.
Until you have fought for it and know what the freedoms are meant and like what you lose when you go into the military, until you have potentially until you put your life on the line for that flag, you respect it.
Right. Well, and I think that's a good point is just you can have an opposite view from everybody. That's not the issue. The issue is you're discounting what I believe and what I did or whatever the case may be.
Right.
What that means to me, I mean, that's the hard part for me is like at least be able to see the other side of it, and
Right.
usually the ones causing the issue don't see the other side.
Right. And not just that, it's like you wouldn't be able to do what you're doing without what that flag stood for.
Right.
Right. It's like so many people have died for that flag.
Right.
In symbolically.
Right.
And it's like countless people do it now. So you can do what you're doing.
Right.
Which is exactly what Memorial Day is about, is remembering and celebrating those people that did that gave us the freedoms to be
who
however we are now, you know?
I mean, if you look at any other country in the world, there's not a country like us in the world. There's plenty of democracies
A lot
out
of
there,
copycats.
but they can't duplicate what we're doing. Like they can't do it.
Nope. So yeah, I just like to publicly thank
Yeah.
all those men and women that have done that. And I've got family that have served. Clearly you hadn't in the Civil War.
Well, I had some more since then too.
Right. So the one that comes to mind every time we talk about vets is my great grandfather, my dad's mom's dad. He served in World War II. He was in England, stationed at I can't remember what it was called, but he would resupply planes and bombers, right? And I was told a couple stories, and any members of my family that is listening to this, please correct me if I'm wrong. But the way I remember the stories is there's a couple of them where, like, one of the machine guns on one of the fighters started going off. And it's too dangerous to try and stop it because the rounds that are flying off that thing will put a hole in a lot of things, right? Yeah. So it's just hide and wait for the barrel to get hot enough and melt and close itself over and stop. And it started going off, shot his hat off, right? And then another one was a bomber. When they were going out, when they'd leave England, typically bombers didn't come back because they were slow, and they were the first target because they had the potential to do the most amount of damage,
right? Which
makes sense. And every now and then you'd have one come back, right? And this one was coming back going down, right? And it crashes on the field outside the hangar, so they're running out to go to see what they can do, save anyone that's in it and all this other stuff. And he finds a boot with a foot still in it. And I'm like, I don't know what I would do. I mean, it's wartime, so like a lot of things going through it, but could you imagine that? Like, that's wild.
Yeah. I mean, with some more stories too. I mean, I had two of my great grandpas were in World War II as well. And then I had, I guess, great uncle, I guess is probably the best way to put it. One of my great grandma, her brother, he was actually on the beach on D-Day.
Oh, wow. Which one do you know?
I almost want to say, I don't want to say wrong. I think it was Omaha, maybe.
Okay.
And I could be doing that wrong, but he actually didn't make it back.
Oh.
But he got a Purple Heart from that, and my great grandma had that Purple Heart.
Oh wow.
After she died, we couldn't find it. We
Oh,
we
no.
don't we knew she had it. She had it hid. We just don't
Right.
know. And I don't remember if anybody found it yet or anything like that.
Oh
but,
wow.
yeah. And then my one great grandpa was machine gunner. He was in Italy under General Patton.
Oh nice.
And then my other great grandpa was a mechanic.
Okay. That's way cool.
I got a couple of them, and they're really the last ones in my family, at least, that were in the military like that. So
Right. Yeah. Every time I think of D-Day, like that, I mean, tons of movies about it. Like The Longest Day, that one always comes to mind. I remember watching that one growing up, and I think it's funny. There's a scene in it where they take the beach, they take a bunker, and a German soldier runs around and goes bitta bitta, and then the American turns around and reacts how you would react if an enemy soldier comes at you, right? And then makes a little joke at him and goes, I wonder what bitta bitta means, right? I took German in high school. I took like 2 semesters.
enough to know.
But the second semester was we just watched movies, alternating from German subtitles to English subtitles to speaking in both languages and vice versa. And we changed it up all the time because my professor was retiring, so he didn't care anymore.
Yeah, he didn't care.
And we're like, oh yeah, this is awesome. We're watching Harry Potter, watching Jason Bourne, and at school this is a great break, And so I knew a little bit, and bitta means please. So he's like, oh please, it's like, and it was a funny little thing. And I mean, it's a horrible event that happened, but kind of little funny thing. And then Hacksaw Ridge.
Yeah,
Hacksaw is. I haven't seen it all the way through. I've seen clips from it, and I know the story. And it's oh man, so sad, crazy what happens. Andrew, oh my gosh, Andrew Garfield, amazing job at it. But yeah, that one's a hard. That's a good movie.
What's crazy is we'll never have anything like World War II ever again. The way the world's changed. I mean, you even look about the difference between World War II and
World War One,
or
even
Korea.
Korea.
Korea was first.
Right.
Like you look at the differences between those and how they were fought. They were completely different. And then you look at even Korea to Vietnam, they were 10 years apart or whatever they were.
And then Nam to like the Gulf War and the
Gulf War, Desert War.
Yeah.
And then you start getting to the Afghan War, Iraq, and all that. You start getting into all those. Like, those are modern wars, and they're still, like, they're even changed since then. I mean, that's only been...
You're not getting the
10
thousands of platoons going up against, hundreds of infantry, all this other stuff. You're not getting that anymore. You're getting small little groups of guys infiltrating and just trying to go for the head of the snake.
Yeah.
So... I mean, there you got plenty of movies about that too.
Yeah.
That are like 13 Hours, right? I remember hearing the story that one of the guys that was in it that survived, like I think it was one of the main guys, helped them write the story and all that stuff. And I remember he came and spoke to somebody or some school or something, and I got it from a friend, and he was saying that they did such a good job with the movie that when he was watching it, he felt like he was actually back there, having flashbacks on. So he felt like he was actually there because of how good of a movie, like how good of a job they did on the movie. And I'm like, oh dang, like
that's crazy.
Holy crap.
Well, and like with there's another movie, Lone Survivor. It's about a bunch of SEALs or Green Berets. I can't remember. I want to say SEALs.
I can't remember either.
But anyways, there's a SEAL team. They go on trying to extract somebody or whatever their objective is. But right at the end of the movie, when they're pulling him out of the town and the helicopter lands, so the pilot, the like actual pilot that did that was my parents' home teacher
oh, no way.
in Vegas. Want to know what his call sign was? Spanky.
That's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's like American Sniper.
Yeah.
Bradley Cooper.
So I have not seen that one all the way through too, and I keep wanting to watch that.
Well, I heard like Bradley Cooper, he went and met the dude's parents. And it's like, you look nothing like my son. So he put on like 50 plus pounds of muscle and just packed on the weight to get to the size of the guy.
Right.
That one's a good movie too. And then going back in time, 1917, I watched that in a film class. Such a good movie.
Now, I like that one better than like Dunkirk. I didn't really like Dunkirk.
I enjoyed Dunkirk, but I can see why people didn't like it. It was kind of confusing.
Yeah.
That was a good one though too.
Yeah.
But I agree. 1917 was a lot better. The way they filmed it too, like the make it look like one shot.
Right.
That was the reason we watched it, was because how do you make a 2.5 hour movie look like it's one shot continuous? Like there's no way you can do that because there's just no way.
Yeah.
Right. And so learning how they did that was so cool. They rehearsed for 6+ months before they even shot anything. It was like doing a play.
Right.
And then they were clever with their cuts. Go through a doorway and the screen goes black for half a second. Boom, there's a cut. You know, you can replay, you know, the next 20 minutes of that, or just, I don't know, the way they cut it was so, as soon as like one thing covered the screen for even a fraction of, even for a frame, there's a cut. There was like 3 noticeable cuts in the whole movie. There was one where he gets shot in the helmet. The screen goes black. That's obvious, like the biggest cut. There's one in the beginning when they go into a tent in one of the trenches, black screen cut. And then when he jumps into the river off the bridge and like the water goes over it, boom, another cut, because that was all green screened.
Right.
Or not green screen, but pretty much.
Right.
Where he jumped off the bridge, they went to a separate location for the river when he jumps into the river and does it twice. So that was cool with that.
Yeah.
But I guess getting back to
let's get rounded back.
maybe
in
we
here.
lighten up a little bit towards the end, but yeah, Memorial Day, and I think we really forget the meaning behind it, the whole celebrate veterans and stuff like that. And it's more just like, oh, I get a day off work. I get the day off work, and I'm more excited about that than anything. Is like,
always working.
it's a day off of work.
Yeah.
You know, and I know some people have like traditions. They do like, oh, we go camping every Memorial Day. We do this every Memorial Day. I grew up not having that because it's like school's done right before.
Yeah.
It's the summer. It's the busy season for my dad and all this other stuff. So it's like we wouldn't really have a, I guess, yearly tradition for Memorial Day.
Right.
I don't know if you guys did or.
Not really. I mean, it just kind of depended on year to year. Like some years we would go camping. Some years we'd maybe be at the lake. So it just depended on what we wanted to do and stuff and how it was. I mean, I always kind of look at it as Memorial Day as the kickoff to summer as well, too. I think that's always kind of a Memorial Day to Labor Day. That's pretty much your summer for most people.
Right. I mean, you get 4th of July mixed in there. Here in Utah, you get Pioneer Day. That's a Utah thing.
Yeah, that's a state holiday.
Yeah. But I mean, I believe I get the day off work.
I know I do.
I know. Well, I guess
it's a paid holiday.
We're like a national company now, so maybe it'll be like, hey, yeah, the Utah people get the day off, you know.
Yeah.
So there's a couple other small holidays through the summer, but
yeah, I mean you have
major.
Flag Day and stuff like that, but
That's not a day off work, but
still holiday.
Juneteenth is one that we get off work now.
I don't get that one off.
We get it off because we got a lot of employees and centers in the South, and so it's a little bit more of like a bigger holiday down there, which makes sense. So I'm like, I'm not complaining. I get the day off work, so I'm like, go fine by me. You know, I get the day off.
That's fair enough.
So, but that, I guess Juneteenth kind of the same time frame as when Memorial Day started, because Juneteenth is the day Abraham Lincoln, and the emancipation.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like Juneteenth really has become a bigger holiday the last few years. I feel like it wasn't really a big thing even 5 years ago. I don't think.
Yeah, no. In light of recent events, it's definitely grown in popularity.
Right.
But I looked up some common things that people do, because I'm like, I don't do anything special for Memorial Day per se. Like, we'd go out as scouts and put up flags.
Right.
We would do that, but nothing really more than that. I don't know. Did you guys put up flags too?
Yeah, we put up flags around the neighborhood and stuff too. I mean, we did that for almost every holiday that you can think of that you want a flag out.
Right.
I mean,
So
4th of July, any of those. But
that was one of the things that I found was flag placements.
I mean, you have your parades and stuff. That's usually you start kind of getting parade season with that. I feel like that's a big part of Memorial Day, is always going to the parades and stuff if they have them and stuff. So.
And like moments of silence and kind of gatherings for stuff like that. Right. Some communities might.
You always have memorials and stuff that are going around,
and then the biggest one I think is Memorial Day sales.
Yeah,
it's not a real holiday without big retail sales going on.
Exactly.
So that's how you know it's a real holiday. You get 4th of July sales, you get Memorial Day sales, you get holiday sales.
Mother's Day sales.
You get Mother's Day.
But you don't get Father's Day sales.
Lowe's you do.
Oh, that's true.
Certain you do get some, but it's not like everything in the store is 20% off. No, it's like you can get $10 off a drill. That's $300.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
That's what I want.
Justified it. It's Father's Day.
Exactly.
Where you get Halloween, not really. Just on candy and costumes.
The day after.
The day after you get a big discount. Valentine's Day, same thing with candy, but it's like New Year's, Christmas.
I mean,
Thanksgiving you get Black Friday. But it's
And
like, oh,
then-
Black Friday deals, not Thanksgiving. But then it's like after that, it's holiday deals because there's so much that goes on in December.
Yeah.
And then you get New Year savings the first couple weeks of the
See,
new
and
year.
I think that's why we always forget about Memorial Day and it's not always celebrated because you don't have other things that go on around
Right.
it
It's
to
like-
boost it. I
Yeah.
mean, like you think about Christmas. I mean, there's many different important reasons to Christmas and stuff
Right.
too. Many different people and whatnot, but there's always stuff that will happen that will cause it to. Oh, I know exactly when Christmas is. It's always December 25th. Most people don't know when Memorial Day is.
Right. Well, I think Memorial Day, it's one of those holidays where it's like, it's not on a certain day every year. It's on like Thanksgiving. Like Thanksgiving's like the third Thursday of November. But like there's other holidays where it's like, I know exactly when it's Christmas, New Year's, obviously, Halloween, Valentine's Day, kind of. It's always the same day every year, no matter what day of the week. Whereas Memorial Day, it's the last Monday of May, which, I mean, I guess it's easier to remember. It's the last Monday of May, but it's like, well, what day is that?
Yeah.
It's the last Monday of May. Well, what date is it?
Yeah.
You know, it's okay. So I can see the confusion. And
Right.
so, I mean, but I agree. It's like right after school gets out here. It's right before, it's like the last hoorah before summer. But like same thing. It's like, I feel like certain holidays have certain foods that go with them. And I looked up, like, is there a certain like dish I'm supposed to be having on Memorial Day? Same thing as like 4th of July. It's like summer barbecue.
Yeah.
You get your hot dogs, you get your burgers, you get your steaks, you get your whatever you want for a summer barbecue. That's what you have for Memorial Day, which I'm game for.
I love barbecues.
Smoke a brisket. Smoked brisket on homemade mac and cheese.
That sounds delicious.
Yup, my parents do it.
You got to
so
smoke
good.
the mac and cheese too. You got to smoke them both.
Yeah, I smoke everything. Yeah,
You just throw it in there.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
yeah, become chain smokers, but whatever.
I think that's a different meaning, but that works
Oh,
too.
yeah. It's the artists, the singers.
Oh yeah.
the chain
yeah,
smokers.
them. Yeah, I forgot.
Hey, come on, Colby.
My bad.
All right, well, I think we ended on a high note.
Yeah.
We kind of got a little
We went
maybe
everywhere.
not dark, but deeper and
Yeah.
a little bit more. It was good though. Who cares? But yeah, thanks for listening. We'll catch you next week. Please like, subscribe, comment, leave a review, do all that fun stuff for us. Please, we want to know your thoughts and all that, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.
Adios.